Classic mode uses your phone's camera feed and lays a transparent picture that you want to draw over that camera feed. If you look at your phone's screen, you'll be able to see the picture that you want to draw and the place where you want to draw it at the same time. This lets you easily trace an image onto any surface. To get started with Classic mode, you need to suspend your phone above your drawing surface. You can use something like a tall glass, a spray can, or better yet, one of our Vinci Eye phone stands. Links to these stands can be found in the app. If you're using a glass or a can, it's recommended to add a loop of painter's tape to the top and the bottom of the glass, so the phone stays in place when you touch it. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. Now it's time to position your image on the paper. Press the Move button, and with one finger, you can move the image around. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and even rotate the image relative to your paper. When you are done positioning your image, make sure to unpress the Move button. This locks your image in place, so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To adjust the transparency or opacity of the image, press the Opacity button. This brings up the opacity slider. You can move the slider to make the image more or less transparent. You can also switch the opacity on and off using the opacity toggle. Now, let's check out some need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. If the camera seems blurry while you're drawing, go to Tools, then Camera, and then you'll be able to adjust the focus manually using the focus slider. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or blur. Next to Filters is the Breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers or steps by color value. For experienced artists, it'll help you analyze the notan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw by numbers project. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This allows you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the Record button. From there, you can record time-lapse videos of your drawings, just like these. Make sure if you post your time-lapse on social media to tag us for a repost. We're at Vinci Eye on all the social networks. If you need help with anything, press the question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out FAQs, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast to questions and feedback. And that wraps it up for our Classic Mode Quick Setup tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting techniques using Vinci Eye. get started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place so you can move your phone or your canvas, and as long as the anchor is in view of the camera, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you are drawing. To get started, take a business card-sized piece of paper or larger. Then take a black pen or marker and add lots of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better the anchor will work. Also, the larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have an accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor. Then press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it's virtually projected on your paper. When you're finished, press Use Photo in the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your photo. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to just inside the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches wide. Take a ruler and measure your anchor's width. Then, type in the width and press Done. You should be brought back to the Anchor Manager screen. Here, you can press Done in the top left corner. Now your image should appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view of your camera. Do not try and hold the phone in your hand and draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall spray can, a tall glass, or a vase. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. Now it's time to position your image where you want it on the paper. Use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then, press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, or rotate the image. When you have the image exactly where you want it, press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion. Now, you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To make the image more or less transparent, you can press the Opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen. You can use the slider to make your image more or less transparent, or you can use the opacity toggle to turn the image on and off. Now let's check out some of the need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. Once you have the phone set up, you can turn off the phone's autofocus by going to Tools, then AR, then Fix Focus. This will also refocus the camera to your paper if the camera is blurry. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or add blur. Next to Filters is the Breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers, or steps, by color value. For experienced artists, it's a great way to help you analyze the notan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw by numbers tutorial. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This makes it easier to see where you've drawn already and where you still need to draw, as well as helping you see what areas need to be lighter or darker. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the Record button. From here, you can record time-lapse movies of your drawings without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure that if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us for a repost. We're at Vinci Eye on all the social networks. We love to see what people are creating with the app. If you need help with anything, press the question mark button in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos on how to use the app, check out our FAQs page, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. That wraps it up for the quick setup AR mode tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting tutorials using the app.
I always do this every time. I turn off the mic and I never put it back on. Can you hear me now? Okay, so welcome to the Da Vinci Eye App YouTube channel with me, Charity Low. If you have any questions during the live video for anything, I had somebody ask me a question yesterday. So as soon as they're on and they send me a message, I will try to demonstrate what they want me to do. So yeah, just ask me questions during the entire live. I don't care if it's about pencil work and some tips like that. So yeah, just send me questions and I'll answer. Yeah, that was me. Welcome. If you want to draw along with me, the references are posted in the Da Vinci Eye App Facebook group, my personal Facebook page, both in the features, or you can actually look it up on the app. If you go to the left there, of the main screen, you'll see 3 purple lines. Click on it, and then you see the magnifying glass. Press Charity Lowsart. Press on my logo that I have, and then go into my inspirations, which is the little light bulb icon, and then scroll down until you find it. All of the references that I've used so far are on that. If you want to showcase your art in a future video, I am more than happy to have you in the slideshow with the rest of us. Just send me an email and as many photos of your drawings as you want. If you do not have the app and you would like to try it for free for a year, I have a promo code for the iOS. So just send me a message. Well, actually, for the iOS, the promo code is in the description. Right now, Android is free because they just dropped their new version of it and they want people to try it out and give their honest review on the Google Play. For tech support, please contact the app developer. You can find him at info@davinciieapp.com. Please join the Facebook community Facebook page. You'll find lots of other artists. You can chat with them. You can get inspiration from them. You have ideas on how to do your setup differently that works best for you. And I'm always there checking on a daily basis to see if there's anything that I can help you with. So yeah. Before I get into what you asked me earlier, I am going to show you some features of the app. So let's get into that. So, my favorite thing is to use the anchor, the AR mode. So what you do is you have an anchor like this. This one you can print off. It'll be automatically calibrated into the app, or you can make your own, which would look something like this. Something like that. But, yeah. Cancel. So you can have your phone, good things about the AR mode is you can have your table at an angle or your phone at an angle, and it will not warp the image when you're drawing it because it calibrates and changes the angle as needed. And then I recommend either taping it directly onto your art table with your drawing or taping your anchor on directly onto your paper or canvas. As long as it's on the same plane, so I got a giant clipboard, it will be fine. So yeah, my favorite is to do with the clipboard because I have more than one project going on at once. Some of my favorite tools that I use is breakdown mode. I usually do this with my graphite and my watercolor. I have cut out off 5 steps, and then you can play around with the exposure so that you get a nice contrast and details as you'd like. So that doesn't really matter too much. Okay, and then what you do is you go from your lighter pencils to your darker pencils. So I would do a very light layer with like the H4 pencil, and then for the next step it's going to be darker, and then I use the HB pencils, and then it gets darker, and then I use the 2B pencils or 4B pencils. It depends on which set you have. And then for the darkest I would do the softest pencil I have. So this is, I really love using this for graphite and watercolors, but I don't really use it at all for colored drawings. So that is one of my favorite tools to use. Another one that I like to use for both the graphite and colored pencils is strobe. So I turn up the opacity to its fullest, and this will go back and forth between the original reference and my drawing so that you can see. So you can see any of the differences and change them as you go. Now you wanted to see how I get graphite to be smooth and less blocky, right? That's what you wanted? So quickly go over that. So I usually have the image already in black and white when I'm doing this. I find it's more accurate when you do that. So I'm going to go into filters here. Go to grayscale. What's going on? Let's see. Can we get it? Let's see, is this one it? Nope. Well, I guess it's like right there. You can tell I don't really use. Let's go cancel. Just give me a second. Filters, turn on the gray, press done, then go into breakdown mode, turn that on, have everything set up. So I'm not going to do the whole drawing. I'm not going to go over the entire drawing, but I'll show you quickly on how I do my blending. Let's turn off strobe here. We're just going to work on this section right here. So for picking out pencils, when you get a pencil set, let me just see. So whenever you get a pencil set, so you choose the pencils you like, you buy one or whatever, and then have them organized from hard pencils to soft pencils. So we'll go from the biggest number with the H, so 4H, 2H, 3H, 2H, HB, so on and so forth. And then go B1, B2, B3, so on and so forth. And what I do is I pick the hardest pencil I have. Mine is a 4H. Usually most pencil sets only go up to 2H. And I choose my medium pencil, which is the HB. That one's always an HB. Then you choose the the softest pencil you have. Mine's a 14B, but most have like a 8B for this. And then you go from the softest pencil to the medium pencil right in the middle. So you just choose the one that's right in the middle. This one is a 6B, but that would probably be a 4B for most sets. That's how I choose my graphites. All of these other pencils I do not use. So if I run out and don't have any extras of the other ones, I will use those too. But so the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to do light pressure and circular motions and fill in all of that colored space. I like to have breakdown mode off because then you kind of get like a white halo around each section. This one will actually prevent that from happening. So this is more like just a base for your drawings. I'm not really trying to focus on getting the exact shade, but you can if you want. For breakdown off, when you're on step 1, you're actually looking at the shade 2. And then by the time you just look at the shade above. And then the last one is when you try to get to black. But I'm not really worried about getting that dark, really dark quite yet. That's when I'm going to start using the strobe to get that in there. And you don't have to be perfect with this. Just use that area for a guideline. You're going to blend it all out anyways, and then you're going to build upon it after. Again, this is just the base of the drawing. I'm going to try to get this quick. The first step always takes the longest because you're filling in more space. But as you go along, the space gets smaller and smaller. Okay, so I was using the 4H pencil. Now I'm using HB. Went to step 2. Still with the same amount of pressure. I am doing circular motions and light pressure. The circular motions help with creating a very smooth texture at the end. You won't be able to see very much of your pencil strokes. Just fill in all of that colored area. If you have a hard time seeing certain colors, you can actually change the colors if you'd like. So let's go down to breakdown mode, and then you see the plus and minus buttons. That will actually change the colors. So if you have a hard time seeing certain colors, that's one that you could do. Or you can change the opacity to see it better. I'd like to have the opacity to a point where I can see where I've easily see where I've already shaded in. Okay, and then the next I'm using my second softest pencil. Mine is a 6B, but most will have 4B for their pencil sets. Also light pressure and circular motions. Another little tip for nice smooth blending is to hold the pencil at the end so that you can kind of use the side of the pencil. This is better for like bigger areas to do that, but when you're doing smaller areas, you can hold closer to the tip. But using the side of the pencil helps remove any pencil strokes, like really harsh pencil strokes. So again, that helps with soft blending. And then it's time for the last step in this particular mode. What do you do? What do you shut off so you don't have the halo? So where I'm going, sorry, I had to read that a couple of times. So if you go into breakdown mode, you see cutout. So you don't want that purple, you want it gray. So that is when you remove the halo, is just have that off. So it just builds up layer by layer when you take that, when it's gray instead of purple. And then now we're going into the softest pencil, still light pressure and circular motions for this. And then we're done with that particular step. You're very welcome. I am here to help you. It's my job. Okay. So now what I like to do, I'll turn off breakdown mode for a minute. Let's turn the opacity off for now so that we can just see this. What I like to do is I like to either take, I take either toilet paper or tissue paper or a little blending stump, depending on how big the area is. This is really great for like big areas like foreheads and cheeks on people. And then these ones are good for like smaller details. So I like this, and then a small blending stump too. I like to have one and a big blending stump. So I'm gonna use the toilet paper that's wrapped around my finger to go around like the white areas to fill those in. I think I might as well do it all over except for where those fine details are on the eyes and like the pattern on his forehead. So we're just gonna blend it all out. It's going to look a little messy, but again, this is just the base. So I'm going to take the blending stump now and I'm going to blend those darker areas. So that is the start. Now a step, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Maybe I should. Another step I like to do for my photorealistic art is find the lightest lights and the darkest darks at this point. So I kind of get over the fear of putting down too like blacks down, if that makes any sense. So what I do is I go down to breakdown mode again. We have the cutout off. You can actually have it on if you want. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on what you're doing. I like to put these steps up to the fullest that it can. So it's 15. Turn up the exposure. And then we're going to look for the darkest areas that they have. So we're going to go to 14. And as soon as you start seeing some color, so just keep going. Keep going. It's pretty light in this area. That's kind of interesting. Maybe it's just because it's in color. Oh, no, I know what it is. I'm sorry. Turn the opacity back on so you can actually see it. There we go. That was the issue. So we're going to take the darkest pencil. We're going to put a lot of pressure in these places that we see the darkest sections. Just fill them right in as dark as you can get them. Now, I used to use black watercolor pencils, but I found a pencil set that has a really nice soft pencils that get really dark. And on top of that, they're matte. So you do what you can do. And then now we're going to turn off the breakdown mode again, turn it back on, this time decreasing the exposure. Press done. This is something I like to do. You don't have to be this. So we're going to do this until we start seeing gaps where there's no color. Okay, and then we're going to take a small mono eraser and we're going to pick up those highlights. So that is, yeah, that's my next step, is doing this. So we got our brights, our whitest whites, and our darkest darks, and those help with a really nice contrast to make it look more realistic. Now, turn off the breakdown mode again. Let's see if I can get these filters on yet. Grayscale, done. And then we're going to go into strobe, turn that on, turn up the opacity to its fullest. And let's, for the purpose of this, I'm just going to show you how to just do one eye, because I need to get on with the other drawings. But if you want me to do some more graphite drawings, just let me know. So we're going to take our darkest pencils. We're not putting a whole bunch of pressure on it right now. We could always build up more. One of my favorite things about graphite is that it's very forgiving. So even if you put too much on, you can remove it. And we're just making changes to the drawings to make them look as close to the original as possible. I like to try to get the really dark sections first so I can get over the fear of putting black down.
Okay, well, you have your water? Yeah, expect it back in 2 hours.
Okay.
Oh, no, by 12. Okay?
My window's open and they're right in front of the house. That's why you're hearing background noise. It's because my family's on the front porch right now. We're just going to start building up the textures and the shadowing as best as we can. The cats are a little bit, like, animals are kind of a little bit more forgiving. You don't have to be exact. But to blend it out, especially the eyes, I like to use I like to use a small blending stump for around the eyes. I just follow the line. I don't go outwards or inwards to get that blended. And then we just build upon, move it around a little bit. If it looks more like a line than a shape, just follow the line. We can take what's on the blending stump and put in some more around the pupil of the eye. So you can, if you have enough graphite, you can draw with the blending stump. That helps with a nice smooth texture and makes it less blocky looking. Do you need me to do more, or do you think this is good enough for now, and then in the future video I can do another graphite drawing with you? I am willing to take requests, so if you have a certain photo you want me to draw, or a certain subject that you want me to draw, let me know and I can draw that for you from beginning to end. But that's how I smooth things out and make things more realistic. It's kind of a little bit more details in the cats than I would do portraits though. There's just so much going on. But let's see. So do you see that? Let's zoom out a little bit. So building that texture using the blending stump really helps kind of soften it up a bit. And again, I can do more. Okay, yeah, so I do want to, I don't know if I said this, I think I said it already. I do accept requests, so if you want me to draw a certain subject, even if it's not a pet portrait or a people portrait, say if you want to do like still life or something like that, let me know and I will do that. If you have a personal photo you want to draw along with me, you can send that to me through my email, and then I'll even send you the drawing for free. No charge for shipping or anything. I will do a drawing for you, and then, yeah. Right now our plans are, after this colored drawing that we're doing, we're going to be doing stained glass painting with Deco Art stained glass paint. So, yeah. And then I do more than just pencil work, but pencil work is like my you know, what is it called? I'm a master at pencil work, but I've done wood burning, stained glass painting, quilling, fabric painting. I've done soft pastels, watercolors, acrylics, pens. So if you even want me to do some other different types of mediums, I am more than happy to do that for you. And then you could also say, hey, I want to challenge you to do, like, say, a photorealistic portrait with just the primary colors or something like that. You are more than free to ask me to do that, and yeah, I'm here for you. So let's move on back to the colored drawing of the cat. One thing I want to go over is how to set up so you can pick colors for your drawings. There is another app out there. It's not associated with this, and I am not endorsing, like, I'm not getting paid to endorse this to you. It's called Colored Pencil Picker. It has a couple of different versions of it. There's ones that have pre-made palettes, or you can make your own palette. What you do is you upload your image digitally and you select the section that you want to draw. It will give you the colors in that section, including undertones. So this is a really great tool to help learn how to see colors. It'll give you somewhat of an understanding of color theory. But I don't find it to be super accurate. I used it for a little bit while I was learning how to use colors. But the most accurate way to do this, and it's actually pretty simple, is that you get yourself a sheet of paper with like a bunch of different squares, rectangles, or whatever. You fill it in each square. I recommend doing from dark to light so you can see the whole, like, the whole different shades that all those colors can do. And then you put the number and the name of the pencils right next to it so you can pick out the colors. I recommend having them color coordinated so that you can compare all of the same colors to your reference. So then what you're going to do is you're going to have a printed copy of your reference so that you can take it and compare the colors that you need to use for your drawings. If you do not have a printer, but you have like an extra device, you can pull up the image onto a photo editing app or a drawing app, upload it onto there, and then use like the color picker thing that looks like, you know, I don't know what it's called. And then you just click on the area that you want to draw, the color will pop up, and then you compare the colors to your chart that you've made. So that's another way. I want you to understand that whatever method you choose, each one's going to be slightly different colors than another. Printers don't always, not all printers print the same, so there might be variations of different colors. Not all tablets have the same lighting, so it looks different too. So what I'm trying to say is that getting the exact color isn't as important as you think, as long as it's in the general area. Like, don't put purple where there's brown, or don't turn the sky yellow or whatever. Like, try to keep it in the same general space. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look for undertones, or really the brightest colors that we see. Previously, I've used a light blue, a tan, a yellow, like a very pale yellow, and like a touch of green in some areas. That's what I see. So we're going to start with the very light colors, and then we're going to just kind of fill it all in nice and smooth, and then we're going to add the detail on top of it to create the fur. So let me just see what colors I can find that would work the best. So I think I'm going to grab both of these. Just give me a minute. I usually like to collect the pencils that I use so I can keep them the same throughout. And then there is a very light greenish color in some areas. So let's see what color best matches that green undertone. I know it's so strange to add like of the more unnatural colors to it. Now my eyes are seeing something different, which that happens a lot too. No, I think I'm gonna do gray, not green. And then the cream color. So now we're going to use the circular motions and light pressure just right where we kind of see it in a general area. This is an undertone of the furs, and it's the lightest colors that we can see. So we can fill in and not worry too much about the shapes or the texture. Now, something that you do not see on my live is that I have my phone streaming to a TV above my head. It is quite like it's fast enough that it doesn't have like a lag on it. Like, it follows my movements quite quickly, so It's not disorienting or anything like that. I can't speak English all of a sudden. And sometimes I will look up at it, and other times I will focus more on the reference that I printed off. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of this yellow, this very pale yellow, in the areas that I see it. We're just doing light pressure so we can add some more layers to it. This helps with a nice realistic look at the end. It helps make it look really full too. And I'm going to take that gray, just very light pressure, to add some of the darker sections of the fur. And this one I'm focusing a little bit more on the exact placement because this is a little bit of a darker color than what we were doing earlier. And we want to preserve those light areas as best as possible. Still kind of doing more circular motions with this instead of doing the texture of the fur. Just trying to create those basic shapes. So just really trying to follow that pattern as best as possible. You don't have to do circular motions. You can kind of start going in the direction of the fur if you'd want. It's up to you. It's not going to make that much of a difference. The only thing I recommend is just trying to stay in the direction of the fur if you're just going to go back and forth. Here, this is kind of interesting. This just goes, the fur goes down and then it goes outward. is what I can see. So I'm actually going to start doing some more detailed stuff here. So I'm doing very small strokes, picking up the pencil every single time I make a stroke. Try to avoid zigzagging as much as possible because it just looks kind of strange when you do that. Unless if it's an under layer that doesn't have the texture quite yet, then it's fine. But the top layers really do need to be individual strokes. So if you can, try to get in the habit of just picking up the pencil and every time you make a stroke. Just get in the good habits. Okay, let's see what other colors we can see that are darker than what we had for the first few layers. I see some nice warm browns, blacks, maybe a little bit of dark reds too. We'll see. I think we're going to use this one. And of course we need some black. So we're going to get the black. And then I do think we need some dark red as well. Is this the right one? Yep. I think I'm going to zoom in even closer to some of these details, looking at all the different references that I have to kind of get it more accurate. So let's start with some more gray in here. And now I am really trying to follow the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time I make a stroke. And we can go over the areas that we already drew over so that it blends in nicely. And you don't need to get the exact placement of every single piece of fur. The reference is just a guideline. Let's build that up with a little bit of brown because I see that too. Also just following the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time I make a stroke. So we really want to focus on the direction of the fur. Even the curvature of the fur is really important too when creating the texture. And then we're going to add a little bit of that red, especially in the really dark sections, like right where like the black is going to be, is where I can see that dark red. Usually when I add dark red, I add like a dark green over top of it. It just has more of like a natural It's more of like a natural black looking section, if that makes any sense, what I'm trying to say. Black is not necessarily natural to happen in reality because, and like in nature, because there's always some highlights on it, so it's more closer to gray. But when you do red and green together, it kind of has that really nice, more natural kind of look to it. But we could always go over it with a little bit of black too. For really dark shading, even on people too, having that red and green in the shadows just makes it look a little bit more live, not dead. I'm going to use some of these other warm looking colors again in those bright areas. Now I'm adding texture to it, so I'm going to put a bit more pressure on it. Now I think we're pretty good, and maybe just add a little bit more shadowing around that bell. And then the different blending tools you can use for pencils. When blending, the most important thing is the way that you placed down the pencil. So a lot of circular motions for nice, smooth, large sections like foreheads and cheeks and whatever, like big areas. Really important to get a really nice, smooth like placement of the pencil before you blend. That's the best way you can do it. But to help increase more of a blending look afterwards, you can use tools like a colorless pencil. This one is designed for Prismacolor, but it does work with other pencils as well. I use it with my my Polychromos. So you can use this. This will not put an extra layer on it. It just pushes the color into the page. You can also use a white colored pencil. It will smooth it out a little bit more, and it will also fill in the gaps a little bit more, making it look like a painting rather than a drawing. But when you're using a white colored pencil, it softens up the colors so it's not as vivid. Or you can use the brightest color in that section, or the brightest color of that version of the colors around that area. That really fills in the gaps too, makes it look more like an oil painting. But when you're using colored pencils, you can't add more to it. You max out the layers. So just something to be aware of. You can also use a blending marker or hand sanitizer and a Q-tip, or do some extra research on your pencils. So Prismacolor is wax and Polychromos is oil. So if you do some research, you might be able to find an actual solution that was made for this blending. So you buy that, and then a firm paintbrush. Using the markers and the hand sanitizer and the solutions kind of have more of like a watercolor effect, or even like a marker, like an alcohol marker. And you can still add more layers to it, add more details on top of that, because it's not adding more layers to it. It's just spreading it around. So I'm going to start off with the colorless blending pencil, and I'm going in the direction of the fur. And we're really just trying to push in that color, the colors that we place down. We're not gouging the paper. We're trying not to scratch the paper at all. We're just pushing that pigment in. Okay, one thing that is really helpful to have, if I remember where I put it, is it behind my computer here? Just give me a second. Nope, it's not there. Where did it go? It disappeared. It's a horsehair brush for art, and I don't know where it went to. Where could it have gone to? Did my child steal it from me? Oh, there it is. It's on the floor. A family heirloom passed from mother to daughter. The one piece of art equipment that I received from my mother. And I'll have it forever. So what the horsehair brush does was, it's just like a little brush. It removes extra chunks of the pencils and also eraser bits without smudging anything. Has this been on this way forever? Settings. Auto director off. Sorry, I just noticed that it hasn't been cycling through my pictures. So let's see, what color should we add first for the details? I think I might add the gray first. And we are now working on creating the texture of the hair, the fur. So we're gonna follow the direction in which they are going. We don't have to get exact placements. I'm really wanting to hire a video tech for these live videos. Sorry for that loud noise. I have my window open because this room gets super warm and it just makes me feel ugh. So really try to follow the direction of where the fur is going. There is so much details, so much going on. So I did talk to the person who requested this drawing, and they said that they are happy with not having a background to it. They think that having the white behind it is actually makes it look a bit better. So as soon as we're done the cat, I might add a little bit of shadow underneath the cat and then call it good. Okay, now let's start bringing in some warmer colors. So I'm going to start with a brown. Also just going in the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time we place it down. And we're not putting a whole bunch of pressure on it either. We are slowly building up. So light pressure so we can get more layers in there, tweak the colors a little bit while we're doing later layers. And it also helps with getting a nice full look at the end too. Oh, the wind just keeps on going. It's starting to slow down a little bit, but like the last few days, it's been horrible. Now, is there any red in some of the really dark sections? Yes, there are. Yes, there is some red. I'm really trying to get those really dark sections now. And then we're going to go over those red areas with a little bit of the dark green, because the dark green kind of makes it look even darker over top of the red. And it's more of a natural looking when you do that. I don't know why green can look natural on a cat, but it just does. I don't know how to explain it. Now we're going to go over with a little bit of black in very select places. Now we're going to start working on some lighter colors again, just to create a little bit of texture in those light sections. So I'm using a brown, very light pressure. And I'm not doing a whole bunch of brown either. Just very small amount so that we can just have that texture that we're looking for. Remember, pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke. It doesn't matter if you go from root to tip or tip to root, as long as it's following the direction of the fur and you are picking up the pencil each time. You want to really focus on the direction and the curvature. And then I think I might go over a little bit with some gray too. I'm going to add a little bit of light skin tone in those bright areas as well, creating texture while doing so. And a little bit of this nice warm yellow. I need to refine some of the texture between the tag and the fur, so I'm going to go in with a bit of black to kind of drag in a few lines so that the fur kind of just blends a little bit into it. So let's use the colorless blender going in the direction of the fur. I'm still picking up every time I make a stroke, just really pushing that pigment into the paper. I'm going to go from where the tag is inwards with that fur. Has it seriously already been an hour since we started? This goes by way too fast. So we're gonna take a quick break. A video of how to use the app with the Android is going to pop up. So you can sit around, watch those, or just quickly stretch your legs, get something to drink, something to snack on, and then we'll be back. So yeah.
DaVinci Eye uses your phone's camera feed and lays a transparent picture that you want to draw over that camera feed. If you look at your phone's screen, you'll be able to see both the picture that you want to draw and the place where you want to draw it at the same time. This lets you easily trace an image onto any surface. To get started, you need to place your phone on top of a tall glass. If your phone doesn't have a case, it might slide around when you touch it. This makes adjusting settings while you're drawing very difficult. To fix this, cut a long piece of tape, place a tape loop on the bottom of your glass to stop the glass from moving around. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. The higher that your phone is positioned, the more of the canvas you'll be able to see and the larger the picture you will be able to draw. Tall aerosol spray cans work great, or you can use one of our DaVinci Eye phone stands, which lets you easily adjust the height and position of your phone. Links to these stands can be found in the app. Now it's time to position the image on your paper. Press the move button, and using one finger you can pan the image. Using two fingers, you can zoom, shrink, and rotate the image. When the move button is unpressed, the camera will be locked together with the reference image. This lets you zoom out to see your drawing as a whole, or zoom in so you can draw fine details. To make your image more or less transparent, you can use the opacity slider. Move the slider to the left to make your picture more transparent, and to the right to make it less transparent. If you find that your pencil or paper is blurry as you're drawing, you can adjust the focus of your camera by pressing Tools, then Camera,
and then Fix Focus. To record a time lapse, like this one while you draw, press Tools, then scroll all the way to the right, press the Record option, and then press the Record On switch. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This strobes the image on and off so that you can compare color values and you can see places where you still need to draw. In addition to the multiple filters in the Filters tab, there is also the Breakdown feature in the Breakdown tab. This breaks down your image into layers by color value. For beginners, it turns your photos into a draw by numbers project. Or for advanced artists, it can help you analyze the structure and composition of what you are about to draw or paint. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right-hand corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out our frequently asked questions, and even email us. We usually respond to emails extremely fast, and we love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using our app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos of how to use all of the amazing features that are in Vinci Eye. To get started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place, so you can move your phone or your canvas. And as long as the anchor is in the camera's view, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you were drawing. To get started, take a business card sized piece of paper or larger. Then take a black marker and do your best Jackson Pollock impression. Make a lot of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better. The larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor in the top right corner of the screen. Press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this or like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it is projected onto your paper. When you're finished taking a picture, press the OK button at the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your anchor. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. Then, press Crop at the top right corner of the screen. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches or 8 centimeters wide. Now press Done. Now press Use Anchor. Your image should now appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view. Do not hold the phone in your hand and try to draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall glass, tape and a tall spray can. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. If your camera is not in focus, press Tools, then Camera, and then Fix Focus. This will refocus the camera to your paper. Your image will appear in the center of your anchor. To position your image on your paper, use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and rotate your image. When you're done, make sure to press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. Now you can adjust the opacity. Press the opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen to make the image more or less transparent. To apply image filters, go to Tools, then Filters, and then press the Filters button. Filters can make your image easier to draw by helping you see different elements more clearly. You can also use the Breakdown tool by going to Tools, then Breakdown, and then Setup. This lets you break down your image into layers by color value. This is great for turning any image into a paint by numbers tutorial, or if you're an advanced artist, it can help you analyze the no-tan or structure and composition of your artwork. To use the strobe feature, go to Tools, then Strobe. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off, allowing you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. This is one of the most powerful tools in the entire app. To get to the last absolutely need-to-know feature, press Tools, then slide all the way to the right and press Record. Then turn the record switch on. This lets you record awesome time lapses of your artwork without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us at DaVinciEye for a repost. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can check out our frequently asked questions, watch instructional videos, and even email us. We usually respond extremely fast emails and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos how to use all the awesome features DaVinciEye has built in.
Well, hello and welcome back. This is usually a pretty good time to interrupt me and ask some questions, and I can answer them ASAP.
Over that camera feed.
Although you can interrupt me during the
screen,
entire
you'll be able to see
video.
both the picture that you want to draw.
And why is this going off? Sorry about that. So yeah, you're free to interrupt. That was interrupting me, and that one was rude. Okay, sorry. Yeah, feel free to answer or ask questions, and I'll answer them ASAP. If you want to draw along with me, the reference photos are posted on my personal Facebook page, Charity Loves Art, or the Vinci Eye Apps group. Both of them are in the featured posts, or you can find my reference directly from the app. So when you're on the home screen, you'll see three purple lines. Click on it, find the little magnifying glass, press it, and then write down Charity Loves Art. Look for my logo, and you just go into my inspirations, which is a light bulb, and scroll down for a bit. I do have stencils that you're free to use for any purpose whatsoever. Even if you're using it to sell stuff at like a farmer's market, I'm okay with that. It's totally fine. But the references that I'm using for these live videos are in there. If you want to be featured in a future slideshow for the art that I do for the beginning of the video and the middle of the video, just send me an email with your name and with as many drawings as you want posted at this time. The reason you can do unlimited is because I don't have very many people who are participating in that right now. So yeah, if you do not, well, I will accept requests. So if you want me to do a different subject other than peoples and pets, like I will do people and pets, but if you want me to do certain subjects, I will do it. I can do landscapes and still lives and whatever else that you want me to do. You can request for just focused videos, like say you want to focus on hair or eyes or whatever. You can request those. You can request challenges to me. So like, for example, if you want me to draw with my left hand, or if you want me to just draw in primary colors, you can do that. If you have photos that you want me to draw, send that to me. Make sure it is kid friendly though. I've had some pretty interesting requests. I will draw that. You can draw along with me, and then when I'm done that drawing, I will send you my original drawing to you through mail for free. So if you have any personal drawings that you want me to do, I could do that. If you don't have the app and you want to try it for free for a year, I have a promo code in the description for iOS. Android is already currently free because they just dropped a new version of it, and they want your honest opinions before they decide to start doing the paid versions of the app. So it's a great opportunity to try that, try the app for free, and then you also have me who can show you every really important or really great tools to use to create photorealistic artwork. So yeah, that's a pretty good deal, I think. If you need any like tech support, not really drawing in itself, but like if you're having a few issues with anything, just send a message to the tech team. It's at info@davinciieapp.com, and they respond fairly quickly. Join the Vinci Eye App's Facebook group. We have other artists there that you can communicate with. You can interact with drawings that they post. You can ask questions about like setups and seeing what would work best for you. And then I'm also there every day just checking in on everybody and making sure questions are being answered. And And that's about it. I'm gonna drink some of this though. Okay, so let's get back to drawing. Where did we leave? Where did we leave at this? So let's take a look at the printed reference. And we're just adding a bit of texture. I think we're ready to start blending this out. I'm taking the colorless pencil and I'm just pushing the color right into the paper. I'm not gouging the paper. I am I'm just pushing the color in, and I'm also going in the direction of the fur so we can kind of keep that texture that we were wanting. We don't want to lose the texture. We're just really pushing that in, trying to fill in those little gaps so that it looks nice and solid. Now, because I'm using the colorless pencil, it doesn't add another layer to it. It's just like a really tough blending stump. That's pretty much what it is. You can go over these sections and add a few more crisp looking furs. Just over top of all of this, just add a few nice sharp lines to make it just, yeah. Make it pop out a bit. And again, you don't have to use the colorless pencil. I find it to be the best option for me because I still like the more vivid and more kind of like painted look almost. So that's got that section done. And let's work on the paw, the arm. I'm gonna build up some more of this undertone, like the really light layers that I kind of see these strange colors. We're doing light pressure and circular motions, holding the pencil at the end. This way we can kind of use the side of the pencil a little bit more. It gives us a nice, more like softer, a softer stroke, so you can't really see any harsh lines at this point. Then we're gonna go in with some yellow. Still the same thing, light pressure and circular motions. Just really trying to fill in that space. And then I'm gonna go in again with a skin tone. Just right where I see the majority of the colors and just filling it right in. Light pressure and circular motions. Now this one's going to be really fun to do because there are a lot of like white hairs. It's mostly dark but then the overlapped, there is some white hairs. There are a couple of methods we can use for this. We can either indent the paper to preserve some of those white hairs, or we can go over it with like a white gel pen or paint or whatever, or you can actually scrape it off depending on the type of paper you have. I want to test, like I would prefer to do the scrape off method, but I want to test it before I choose that, because then my second option that I'd like to use is just indenting the paper. So I'm going to take an X-Acto like blade. I'm going to choose a random spot on the cat and then just try to scrape it off a bit. I just find this is a little bit more, I find that it's a bit more fine when I do this, but sometimes I can't do it. So I think I like that. Just put one right here. This is the very last step. I just wanted to test this out because this is the less abrasive step or way to do this. So first, I want to do a really light layer of gray pretty much everywhere on the side of the arm. Just want to leave the top part alone. And now we can go in with a little bit of texture. I'm still using the gray, using the reference on the app just for a guideline. It doesn't have to be exact. And I want to still try to have some of those light areas preserved naturally while I'm adding this texture. But I know that I have the method that I want to use and it's going to work. So the method to pick up some of those brighter pieces of fur, it's good, it works, and I know it does. So that's why I was testing it on some other areas of the cat. So if I weren't going to use the X-Acto blade, or whatever you want to call it, I would have taken a empty pen. So I took out all the ink and then just scribbled on a piece of paper to empty it all out. And then I will just indent the paper right where some of those really bright fur is, especially ones that kind of want to go against the rules of the direction of the fur, and then it will preserve those to be white. You can color in, before you indent the paper, you can color the general in like the lightest tone that you see and then indent it so that it doesn't look like super bright white. That doesn't quite go with the rest of the drawing. So what we're doing is we're doing small individual strokes, picking it up every time, really focusing on the direction of where the fur is going and also trying to recreate this curve of the fur too. All of these are really important elements to think about when you are creating fur texture. So we got that first layer done. I'm gonna add some brown. in some places. Still trying to go in the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time I make a stroke on the page. And these are just little strokes. It's really trying to build that up, slowly but surely. Those birds of mine are pretty loud today. Wonder what's making them so loud. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with some red in those really dark sections. Again, very small strokes, following the direction of the fur, lifting up the pencil every time. Picking up the pencil every time that I make a stroke. We don't want to zigzag at this point because it won't look right. If you zigzag in the first layers, it's not going to be noticeable, but it's something that you want to try to avoid getting in the habit of doing. So the acceptable ones that are good habits are tight circular motions and lines. Those are the only ones that you should get into the habit of doing. Okay, now we're going to add some green over top of those red areas to make them look a little darker than it actually is. Red and green, complementary colors, and they are really good complementary colors that just have a really good, strong, dark color. And then just adding some black over top of some of those areas. I'm really focusing on the reference at this point that's printed off, not the reference that's on the app. I find having multiple versions of being able to see the same image really does help with getting the drawing look fairly accurate to the original. I think we are almost ready to start blending this out. And then we might be able to pick up a few of the really bright colors. Let's see if I need to add a little bit of more texture in the white areas. I'm using a little bit of gray, just to add a little bit of texture. And then I'm gonna go in there with some yellow. I'm just doing the same thing I was doing for the whole thing, which is picking up the pencil every time I make a stroke, not trying to fill in everything anymore. So now let's take the colorless pencil. And again, you don't have to use a colorless pencil. It is my pencil of choice or my blending method by choice. So what we're doing is we're going in the direction of the fur and we're pushing that pigment in. Using the colorless pencil, it doesn't add another layer of color so that you can still build up over top of it. If you need to add more texture over top of it, make it look a little bit more crisp. But you can, if you want to, use a white pencil crayon or a light color of the section that you're working on, and that really fills in those gaps really good. But then you can't, and it makes it look more like a painted look when you do that, but you can't add any more layers to it because there's nothing left for there's nothing for it to grab onto because it's all filled up. And then you can use a blending marker or hand sanitizer and a Q-tip, or do some research on what type of pencils you use and what solution was actually made for the blending technique. Each pencil set is going to be a little different than a next pencil set. For example, Prismacolor is wax-based and Polychromos is oil-based, so they act differently. And each pencil set has its own pros and cons to them, so do some research before you decide which pencils you're going to use. If you're new to doing colored portraits and you don't want to spend a lot of money until you figure out if you like doing colored portraits, go ahead and buy yourself Crayola. You can still do some pretty nice drawings with them. They just won't have as many things that you can do with them, if that makes any sense, because the formula of the pencil is just designed for basic use. But you can get in some good habits with those. You can practice your blending, faux blending techniques. You can learn how to put the strokes down properly, practice your circular motions, practice your line work. And then when you get to the point where you feel confident in being able to pick colors and mix them, and you want to do this more regularly or professionally, then get yourself a really nice pencil set. Other things that I want you to be aware of is when you choose a pencil set, don't overwhelm yourself with a huge, like, big pencil set. Have something that has a nice range of colors, that don't have a bunch of colors that look exactly the same. I like about 34, around there, 34 set. I feel like that gives you a pretty good size drawing set. And then also when you start doing it more professionally, try to get our brand that sells the pencils separately. So that way you don't have a bunch of one colors just sitting around in your art room, which probably won't be getting used anytime soon. So what you do is, what I have going on behind me is like a little organizer for all my colored pencils. And I make sure I have about 2 of them, depending on, like I do that because it would take me about, to go through 2 of them to get enough money to buy some more. But that's so if I don't have any money, I have some left, extras, whatever. And then I won't have a bunch of the same color just sitting there doing nothing. So I just stock it up as I need to. I don't know what I said. What did I say? I'm just erasing some of these marks that I put down on the background because we're not going to need them. She says that we're going to do it white background. In my previous videos, I used a very light pencil, a 4H pencil, so that it makes it super easy to erase. So now the background's clean. Okay, let's see what kind of tools we can use here. The first thing I think I might want to do is I think I still need to add some more of the black in some places. So you see, we can still add that even though we pushed in that color with the colorless pencil. So we can add a little bit more of this over top and then blend it out again. You can also add more layers if you're using the hand sanitizer or colorless marker pencil blender. But when you're doing this, filling it in with a regular pencil, then like a colored pencil, you can't do this. And let's see if we can pick up some really bright fur, pieces of fur, with the method that we chose. I'm just scraping it off in some select areas. I'm usually just kind of like to try to get those fur, those pieces of fur that just don't want to follow the rules of the rest of it, and also the really bright pieces. There's a really bright section right here. And I'm sorry if this is a nasty sound to you. And we want to be careful on not like scraping off too much because we don't want to make a hole in the paper. And this is a method that I would prefer or would work This would only work with like thick paper. Sorry, I was trying to think about how I was going to say it. I know this is a horrible sound. It works really well in those super dark areas. Okay, let's see, is that enough? What do you think? Is that enough? So that is one method of doing that. I think that made it look a lot better. I might need to go over some areas to add a little bit more texture. We're going to move on. Move on to the next. Zoom out a little bit so you can see the entirety of that section. Oh, come on. Why did I do that? Okay, we're going to start off with the lightest colors we see. A lot of it is mostly like a skin tone and a light yellow. So we're doing light pressure and circular motions, holding the pencil at the end, trying to use the side of the pencil a little bit more. This is just for habit building. There's only two types of strokes that I think are the most important and most habits that you should get into. Some circular motions with light pressure, holding the side of the pencil, and then doing some line work, holding the tip of the pencil so that we can get really nice fine details. We're just putting that yellow all in the sections where we see the yellow, even in the dark parts of the fur too. And then I'm going to go in with some skin tone. Add that to light pressure and circular motions all over the areas where we see it. All over. We're not worried about doing detailed work at this point. This is just the base. We're working on the base. And then we're going to do some blue in some of the areas, only where we see it. Even in the dark sections, we can add that blue in those dark sections too, if we can kind of see it. And we're doing light pressure and circular motions using the side of the pencil, so we have a really nice, soft, blended like transition of the fur. This really helps bring some color into the lighter sections. What do you think? Are we going to finish this today? Or are we going to I think we're going to need more time. I think we're going to have one more day of this, and then we can move on to our next project. Just as a reminder, our next request is stained glass painting with Deco Art stained glass paint. And the things you're going to need is a floating frame. And we're going to have to do this in the span of 2 different days. And that's only how long it's going to take, is just 2 days. So I might also do some like focused artwork too. So like doing some studies of hair or eyes or whatever. When we start doing the when we're doing the stained glass to fill in the time. Because once we get the line work done for the stained glass paintings, we're going to have to let that dry before we finish it. So I'm going to need a lot of time to fill. Now I'm starting to build up the texture and the shapes of like the pattern of the fur. So now I'm focusing on following the direction of the fur and picking up the pencil every time I make a stroke. And we're not really trying to get every single hair perfectly according to the reference. We're using it as a guideline. So the only things that really matter is the direction of the fur and the general placement of colors. So for this really fluffy fur, we can do a little bit of a longer strokes than what we were doing on the paw. And then let's start adding some other colors. I want to give it some life, not just black and white. So we're doing a little bit of brown over top of those gray areas that we put, just all over those. Let's see, where else do we need to add more to? Remember, picking up the pencil every time we make a stroke. We're just doing light pressure so we can slowly build up the layers. More layers, the more realistic it's going to look. Okay, need something to drink. Now for the really dark sections, we're going to start adding some red. And then we're going to go over it with we're going to add some green over top of it too. Just the really, really dark sections is where we're going to add this red. Pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke and follow the direction of the fur. Also follow the curvature of the fur as well. I'm starting to get a headache. I don't know what to do about it. And then some green right where those red marks are. Just really makes it look much darker. Make sure you pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke and really focusing on which direction the fur is going. Okay, I think we can go back over it with a little bit of brown just to kind of pull it in towards the little lighter areas, just to give the lighter areas a bit more texture. Just a little bit. And I've also noticed that the fur likes to kind of blend in downward, so don't put the brown strokes from the dark pattern upwards. Just bring it downwards a little bit so that it kind of looks more like it's got layers. It's one thing that I've noticed. You can add a little bit of brown, or not brown, black in some of the areas. Just for the really dark sections. That's all we're doing. Let's see, what can we do? What do we need to do? Using some gray, just adding a little bit more texture in the brighter areas. Still trying to follow the direction of the fur. Just, there's a lot of texture in the shadows, but there's not a lot in the highlights. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. We don't want to make it too dark. And we're going to go and I'm going to use a little bit of the tan to do the same thing. Just add a little bit more texture to it. And a little bit of that yellow too in some areas. Okay, now we're going to take our colorless pencil and we're going to blend. I'm going to follow the direction of the fur, picking up the pencil every time we make a stroke. And we're just pushing that pigment right into the paper so we can kind of get more of a solid look to it. My head's killing me all of a sudden. And I still have 25 minutes left. I'm really trying to fill in those white little bits of the paper. It comes from the texture of the paper. We don't want to gouge the paper. You just want to push it all in there. And remember, with the colorless pencil, you can add more details to it over top. Okay, now that I kind of gotten all of the other areas done around the whiskers, I think I want to just jump into this real quick. So I'm going to take a gel pen. First I'm going to add this to the highlights of the eyes here. A gel pen, and I'm going to follow that indent with the gel pen to just really make those pop out a little bit more. Come on. Because that's what we did. Is we indented the paper to create the whiskers, but I feel like they need to pop out a little bit more by going over it with the gel pen. Let's see, do I have another gel pen that works? Yep, will work. Here's a gel pen. Let's see if this one works a bit better. I should possibly get a better gel pen. Maybe it's the reaction of the pencil that I'm using. I don't know. Did that help? Did they make them pop out a little bit more? I don't know. And I feel like there might need to be a little bit of a highlight right here too. Right here needs to be a bit brighter. I should do some research on what the best gel pen is. I'm sorry. Another thing that I'm noticing as a whole right now too is that some of these areas need to be a little bit more, like a little bit brighter. So I'm going to take the white colored pencil and going over some of these dark sections just to brighten it up a little bit. It also needs to be a little softer and more soft and blurred a little bit anyways. So this is all good. This will all work out. And I think I should actually finish doing the outside of the cat too, because I'm not doing the background. So I'm going to take that colorless pencil and I'm actually going to push in the colors around the edges of the cat so that it actually has an edge that's finished, because again, we're not doing the background. So we can just smooth that all out. Is that looking better? I want to see what you guys see. I'm just going to add a few little gray strands of fur just around the edges here. Now, you can choose whether or not you want to blend that in and soften it up, or you can just leave them like that if you want. I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I want to soften up these little pieces of fur, or if I just want to leave it or soften it up. Soften up or leave it alone. What do you think? I almost kind of like it with it a little bit more, what do you call it? More defined lines, not blurred. I think I like it that way. Okay, let's move on to the next section. Every so often, I just take a minute and then see what needs to be changed still. Okay. So I'm going to start off by putting some gray down. This will help with the shapes of like those really dark sections. And we are starting to already build up the texture, so we're following the direction of the fur. Also trying to recreate the curvature of the fur too. It all helps with the realistic look. We're going to do the same technique as we did with the hand, where we're going to scrape off the smaller bits of fur, the brighter bits. So we don't need to really worry about preserving that. We're just trying to create the right shade and right colors. Let's go in with some brown now. I'm going to start focusing more on the darker areas. Remember, pick up the pencil every time you make a stroke. You can do some short strokes. And then let's go in with the dark red. Just for those really dark sections, that's where we're putting it. And then we're going to go over those dark red areas with a little bit of green. I know it seems kind of weird to put green down, but it just makes it a little darker. And then we can go over that with black. We're going to add black over top of where we had the green and the red. And let's add some more shading in the rest of it. I'm going to do some brown. I just really wanted to get that texture down. And now we can add a little bit more to the rest of it so that we can get the right shade. A little bit of gray. I think we're almost ready to see what it looks like when it's blended out. Okay, we're going to take the colorless pencil and we're going to start blending. Still going in the direction of that fur, we're just really trying to push in that pigment right into the paper. This is going to make the pigment a little darker. We're getting so close to being done. So I think another video or two and then we'll be done. And then I gotta mail this out because this one was a request, a personal photograph taken by somebody else, and yeah. I'm really trying to fill in all those little white dots that's being created because of the texture of the paper. I really want it to be nice and solid looking. I got it right yet. And then we can take that X-Acto knife, or whatever it's called, or scalpel or whatever. I don't think it's a scalpel. What is it called? And we're gonna just pick up some of those really light pieces of fur that are just poking through. Sorry for the loud wind. It is really warm in here and I really need some airflow, but it has to be a windy day. And I feel like some sections still need to be darker still. So I'm going to add another layer of the black pencil. Now you have the choice of keeping those dark lines just left alone as some really sharp details, or you can blend that in. I'm choosing to blend it in because I just feel like it just kind of goes with the rest of it a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to just go over a little bit here. So if you want to draw along with me, the reference photo can be found in the Facebook group, Vinci Eye Apps group, or my personal Facebook page, Charity Lows Art, both in the featured, or you can go directly into the app, and on the main page you'll see 3 purple lines. Click on that, and then search Charity Lows Art. Go into my inspirations, which is a little light bulb icon. Click on that and scroll down. There are also a lot of stencils that I've made that are free to use for whatever purpose, even if it is to sell some knickknacks at farmers markets or whatever. It's totally free to use. And then if you want to have your artwork featured in the next videos or future videos slideshow, just send me an email. My email's in the description, and give me your name and as many drawings as you want. Right now, we don't have a lot of people who are joining that quite yet, so that's why I'm letting you have as many as you want. If you can request different things for future videos, my profession is doing pencil work, colored pencil and graphite for portraits, so pet portraits and people portraits, but I've done wood burning, stained glass painting, fabric painting, quilling. I've used soft pastels, watercolors, acrylics, pens, and so much more. Even cookie decorating too, like just a wide variety of things. So, you can request different things from me. You can also request different subjects that are not portraits. And then you could also send me challenges. So let's say if you want me to do a portrait with just the primary colors, or I just draw with my left hand or whatever, you get to decide what I'm going to do next. Because I'm here for you and I'm here for your entertainment as well. You could also request me to draw a very personal picture, like whether that be you or a family member or a pet. I will draw it. You can draw along with me, and then I will mail the original drawing to you for free. No shipping charges or anything like that. If you want to use the app and you don't have it yet, I have a promo code in the description for the iOS. So you can try it for free for a year. Android is already currently free because they just dropped their new version of it, and they want people to try it out and give them their honest opinion about it so that they can make it the best that it possibly can be. So now is a good time to do that. If you need any tech support, email the app developer at info@davinciieapp.com. Join the Facebook community, the Da Vinci Eye Apps group. You'll see a bunch of other artists and their artwork. You can interact with them, and you can see how people set up their studio for working in. And I'm also there every day, just checking in on everybody, making sure that their questions are being answered. And that's it. Thank you so much for your support. I am live every Friday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And then you could also catch me live almost every day. It depends on what needs to be done. It's very loosely on my Facebook, my personal page, Instagram, and YouTube. And I'm usually on about 10 to 12-ish Monday through Thursday. But depending on what's going on in that day, I may or may not be on. But if you want to see me more... Why did it freeze? Okay, anyways, thank you so much. Love you, and you guys have a wonderful